Okay, so here we're just going over practicing simplifying radical expressions and absolute values. So we have the square root of 25 minus 16. So you want to take care of the operation first because it's almost like there's invisible parentheses under the square root. So 25 minus 16 would give us a 9. So we're looking at the square root of 9, which in turn would just be a 3. So on your calculator, the square root button is on top of the x squared button. So the square root of 9, close the parentheses, would be 3. So then we also have the square root of 169 minus the square root of 144. So we do the square root of 169, which is 13. So we get 13 minus, and then we do the square root of 144, which is 12. So the 13 minus the 12 would give us a 1. Okay? Then we're looking at the absolute value problem. So what is the absolute value? So the absolute value, get rid of the shadow as much as possible. So the absolute value is basically the two straight lines with something in between. So the absolute value represents the distance from 0. So that's why when you do the absolute value, you think it always comes out positive, because the absolute value is always asking about how far is something from 0. So the absolute value is not concerned with direction, which is how we get positive and negative. The absolute value is just concerned with how far, and distance is always a positive value, basically. So here we're going to substitute in x is 3 minus y, which is a negative 8. So the double negatives create a plus, so we get absolute value of 3 plus 8. So we take care of the operation first. So we get absolute value of 11, and the absolute value of 11 would just be 11. Okay, then we have absolute value of x plus absolute value of y. So we substitute in. X is 2, and for this they tell us that the y is negative 4. So here we are going to simplify each absolute value first. So the absolute value of 2 is 2, plus the absolute value of negative 4 is 4. Because it's basically saying how far is negative 4 from 0. It's just 4 spaces. So we do 2 plus 4, which would give us a 6. And then on the last one, we have y is equal to negative 1, and we're looking to simplify y over the absolute value of y. So y is 1, and then the absolute value of y is negative 1. And then we're doing the absolute value of negative 1. So we simplify the absolute value first. So the absolute value of negative 1 is a positive 1. So then negative 1 divided by 1 is positive 1. No, it's negative 1. So negative divided by a positive is a negative. So on your calculator, you have the negative button, which is down here. 1 divided by 1 equals negative 1. Okay? And then if we do the other one, 3. So you have a minus and then a negative. So 3 minus a negative 8, it'll show you that it's a positive 11, just in case you struggle with your sign. So that's evaluating absolute values and square root.